Generational diversity is very common in today's world. There are many different generations working for the same company towards a singular goal. The four active generations currently are the veterans, the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, and the millennials. Taking a closer look, the veterans were born between 1922 and 1943. They often value hard work, dedication, discipline, respect for authority, and duty before pleasure. They are influenced by the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression, the New Deal, World War II, and the Korean War. The veterans today are often retired and are the elderly. The baby boomer generation was born between 1943 and 1960. Their common values are optimism, team orientation, personal gratification, hard work, and involvement. Their major influences in their life were the civil rights struggle, nuclear power, the Cuban Missile Crisis, space travel, and the Vietnam War. The baby boomer generation is currently reaching the age of retirement, although many seem that it is unnecessary to do so. The Gen Xers were born between 1960 and 1980. They value global thinking, balance of work and home, the ideal that work should be fun, and they are techno-literate, meaning they understand and put into use technology. Their main influences were the Watergate scandal, the energy crisis, personal computers, successive recessions, the AIDS outbreak, and Operation Desert Storm. Formed between 1980 and 2000 are the millennials. They value optimism, collaboration, open-minded, confidence, and global communication through electronic networks. Their major influences, although still growing, are the September 11th attacks, Columbine shooting, the technology boom, the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky scandal, and the Operation Iraqi Freedom. The millennial generation is still young, and their influences and values are changing every day. My personal experience working with each generation is very different and very diverse. Most of the veterans I have worked with in the past are very devoted, on time, hardworking, loyal, and honest. They take a lot of pride in their work and put a lot of effort into their job. They view their job as an obligation. They are often single task oriented, meaning they do not multitask well and they stay focused on one job. They are stubborn, they do not like change. If that's the way it's been happening for 5 years, they don't want to change it, they want to leave it the same. And they're not tech savvy. They often have trouble using new technologies such as computers in the workplace. Working with the baby boomers, they're also very hardworking and innovative. They have a lot of new ideas, they think outside the box. Another problem with the baby boomers is also they tend to not be tech savvy and they can be judgmental. Often the first impression made on a baby boomer is the only impression they will have of you. Gen Xers embrace the ideal that you work hard and play hard. They are tech savvy and willing to listen to new ideas. Unfortunately, the Gen Xers often have poor multitasking due to over multitasking, if you will. They spread themselves too thin, trying to do too many things at one time. They have poor organizational skills as well, tending to lose things and have piles piles of paperwork. The millennial generation, my generation, we work hard and we play hard just as the Gen Xers. We are very innovative, just as the baby boomers, thinking outside the box, new ideas towards global economies, and we are great multitaskers. Unfortunately, my generation tends to also be very lazy. They're late for work often, have a poor work ethic, and they have the idea that things will be handed to them in their life. Now, this is my personal experience working with each of these generations. Not every person fits the description that I have given, but this is just my experience. There are many people who stand out from this description. Generational management is very important in the workplace. It can help bring these generations together to work towards a common goal. Management strategies must be as diverse as the different generations. There's not a single management strategy that will work with every generation. So management must be flexible, working with the different generations and accepting of all generations. They need to understand the differences between the generations and how it will affect them as they work. Taking a closer look at feedback, when managers give feedback to the different generations, it will come in various forms. The veterans feel little need for feedback. They feel that they know that they have done a good job because they take tremendous pride in their work. If they don't get any feedback, they assume everything is going fine. Baby boomers tend to not like the feedback. They don't want to hear anything bad that they have done, and they always just want to keep moving forward. The Gen Xers, on the other hand, like the feedback and want to know how they are doing so they can continue forward, changing as necessary. The millennials love the feedback. They want it instantly so they can continue as they are or improve on what they're doing. They want instant feedback all the time after everything that they do. The levels of feedback wanted tend to go along with the gratification of each generation. The veterans, they have the delayed gratification. So if they don't receive feedback right away, they can wait to receive that feedback. And as we move towards the millennials, increasingly towards instant gratification, they want to know right now how they are doing so they can fix it if need be. Working with the different generations and the interactions between generations, managers must take into consideration that each generation will act differently towards others. Veterans prefer to work alone and focus on the job at hand. They don't necessarily like to communicate with others. They want to do their job, be responsible for their job, and get it done. This is important to understand when assigning tasks and jobs to employees. The baby boom generation, they like teamwork and to collaborate with others. They like to bounce ideas off of each other and work towards a common goal. Within these teams, the Gen Xers like to be the leaders. They're a very entrepreneurial generation. They like to use these entrepreneurial traits to lead these groups. Millennials, on the other hand, prefer to just participate in the groups instead of leading group activities. They're happy with participating and just want to do their part in the group. Like I said, it is important for a manager to understand how the different generations interact with one another, so that when assigning tasks can be assigned to appropriate generation levels, or when teams are assembled to work on a project, you can assemble a team that has an array of different generations. The veterans will provide the experience and the knowledge, where the Gen Xers can provide the leadership, and the millennials in that group, they can offer that participant skill, where they like to be delegated to. In conclusion, every management must be flexible. As stated before, there's not a single management strategy that will work with all generations. Each management must approach each generation differently, according to its values and influences. Management needs to understand the differences of each generation in order to completely accept them and accept their work ethics and their way of thinking. In order to completely close this generation gap between the different generations, managers must work to help their teams also realize the differences in generations. Until the manager can completely understand this and be flexible with it, that generation gap can never be closed.